Hi, my name is Bridget Estela. I'll be a senior this fall at Carthage. I'm triple majoring in theater, English, and music. So I'm actually really, really excited as someone who is going to try and be making her way in this industry in less than a year now. It's really, really exciting to be given the opportunity to talk about why I love it so much. So here we go. I think the first thing that I want to talk about is how weird theater is. It blows my mind that it should still matter and that it should still be something of such importance and that it's lasted as one of the longest forms of entertainment that we know. And yet it's so weird. Even the most realistic of all realisms is a complete fabrication put up on stage. I'm fascinated by the theatrical contract, this paradox that they're wherever they are, that the play takes them, and yet we know they're in a theater. It's actors reciting lines, yet they're there. It's this weird paradox, and no matter if it's a musical or if it's French absurdism or if it's Arthur Miller, they all have this element of a stage production of like this little segment of life. No matter how real or not real the story is, it's still real and not real to us on stage. It's mind blowing. It's crazy. I think the next thing that I think about, in addition to this weirdness, is the duality that theater contains. Theater has changed so many people's lives. Theater has become so important to so many people. It can just shock you. You can read a play, you can see a play, and it can alter your view on the world, on life. Or you can appreciate just a good story and be entertained for a couple hours. I mean, my dad, in the last show that I was in, he was telling me there was a talk back after the show, and there were people asking questions about life and art and relationships and all this stuff. And my dad told me afterwards, he's like, I looked at one of your grandparents and said, well, I just thought it was a good story. And I think that's a great part about it, because theater has both those things going on for it. And even so, even not all of them contain that. There's that old story with Hal Prince talking to Andrew Lloyd Webber about cats, and he asks Andrew, is this about the French Revolution, and is the main cat the Queen of France? And Andrew Lloyd Webber says, Hal, it's about cats. And I think theater has this power behind it, that it's able to revel in both really important story and a really important claims on life and what we're trying to do here. And it's also just this greatly fascinating, culminating, beautiful art form. A quote that I think about a lot, that will pertain to this, is this quote by Virginia Woolf that says, "Think of things in themselves." And I think about this a lot because I'm also thinking a lot about this hyperphrase that people are always talking about, like living in the moment. And I think living in the moment is doing a disservice to yourself. I think it does a disservice to your brain and to your heart if you're truly going to live in the moment, because you're ignoring every moment that's happened before and you're ignoring every moment that's to come if you're truly focused on this one moment. And I think think of things in themselves, this quote, I think that this has all the energy and the carpe diem attitude that living in the moment wants to have, and yet it still lets you revel in the full big picture of your life and of all the things that you're experiencing and all the things that you're feeling. This all relates back to theater for me, because you're there doing your one story. It's one story in one location for whatever audience happens to be there for you. And yet it kind of can be elevated into this big thing. It's this big picture thing for me that I think about all the time, and that I'm just obsessed with, and that it's just trying to do something, and it's trying to feel something. We're trying to just get it all the time, and all we can do is our part. I seem like the kind of person that would have the moment, the theater moment. I don't have it though. I have a gradual shift in mindset, I guess. I started when I was young, performing And I really liked it because I was told I was good at it, and I got a lot of compliments, and I really liked that. As I got older, kind of late middle school, early high school, the audience connection kind of clicked for me, and I realized that was unlike anything ever. Having that audience be there with your energy to feel your sorrow and feel your joy and be laughing and be crying with you. So it became kind of it was for me and for them. And then as I got older, into later high school, and when I realized I was going to go into theater, and then now that I've studied in college, it's just exploded. But it relates all back to this big picture thing, where I'm doing what I can, but I'm able to be a part of something. I'm a part of something bigger. It's changed into this art and this integration into it that I'm allowed to be a part of, and that's what keeps me coming back, and that's what just keeps me going in this. I think we're really lucky, because I don't think in any of our lifetimes that theater's going anywhere. I think there's enough people that have kind of gained this dependence on it, be that playwrights or producers, directors, actors, audience members. I think we need it because it is unlike anything we've seen. I think that's really fortunate, because I know I need it, and I'm pretty positive that we need it. There's this phrase that I kind of coined, because as I think about all this like big picture world art everything, I get really overwhelmed, and I get really, really underwhelmed at the same time. This paradox is coming up everywhere. And I kind of started thinking about this phrase, too much and not enough always. And it's, there's all the shit, but there's all the beauty, and there's all the madness, but there's all the sanity, and it's just this constant thing where it's too much and not enough. Like that's exactly how it is. And I think that the only way we can make that make sense is by finding moments. For me, writing and performing both kind of give me this chance for this moment. My writing is kind of more secluded and isolated, because I don't share it as prevalently as I share my performing. But there's this idea, as you take your final bow and you see the tears streaming down people's face, or you make that perfect entrance and all the energy and adrenaline in the room just explodes into this laughter at just your tiniest movements, or you see something. I remember after I saw I Am My Own Wife, I was paralyzed. I could barely breathe after that performance, and then I couldn't talk about it for weeks. It's just amazing that things can do this to you. And when you're looking at the big picture, and all we're really trying to do is get it. I just reread Waiting for Godot this morning, and what are we doing? We're waiting for Godot. We're just trying to get it. We're trying to understand. I think the only way we can do this is in these moments. And I think theater, more than any other thing that I know of or that I've ever experienced, lets us get it for that moment. So there's that. Thank you.